Yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to a DFS strategy video for the 2025 Tour Championship. My name is Eric, and I'm here with SweetSpot DFS to go over all things SweetSpot DFS, all things SweetSpot process for the Tour Championship this week. That means going over the golf course and tournament information, going over past optimal and GPP winning lineups. I'm the only person, I think, in this DFS content creation space that goes over that stuff. And I think it really matters this week because of how unique this tournament is. Now, it's different from the last few weeks, and we'll get more into that when we get into the golf course and tournament information. I should say the last couple of weeks. I mean, the last couple of years. So again, we'll talk about that. And then I will dive into the bucket system. It's a little different this week because it's a 30-man field, so it's not even that big of a deal, to be quite honest. We'll talk more about that when we get there. I think this video is mostly going to be revolved around, can we play Scottie Scheffler this week or not? Because with a 30-man field, with how expensive he is, I'm not sure it's feasible. We're going to do the deep dive. I kid you not. It is going to be the most in-depth deep dive I think anyone's going to do as to how to make sense. Like, can we actually play Scottie Scheffler? In what scenarios can we play Scottie Scheffler this week? And go from there, honestly. So I think that's one of the biggest strategy pieces this week. I understand people just are going to fade him because they think he's going to be the most owned golfer. I get that. But last week at the BMW, he was in a lineup that was 4.5 points less than the optimal lineup. At his high price tag of last week, he was like 13,400. He's 13,900 this week. And he's still almost was still in the optimal lineup. So I do think it's worth it big time to talk about Scottie Scheffler for a strategy portion of the Tour Championship. So again, we'll get into all of that. Just a reminder, this is a live stream, so I do talk to my chat every once in a while. I have timestamps that are on the bottom or right down here, the little red bar. Obviously, the people here live watching this, you're not going to see those. That comes afterwards. That's after this is posted to YouTube, and it's on replay. So if you want to skip ahead and not listen to me talk to the chat, that's fine. Also, you have the ability to actually follow along with chat if you're watching this on replay. There should be an option like somewhere over here that'll say live chat replay on or off. Just click on and you can see me talking to the chat. So AJ Love is in the chat right now. What's going on, man? Nice to see you. You lost $2 last week. Hey, that's not terrible. I didn't make all my money back, but I made most of my money back. I would say it was a successful week for me. Pretty much break even. Almost, I think I lost $8. I put in $83, something like that. What's going on, Nathan? Nice to see you as well. Let's go ahead and talk about giveaways. I didn't really do this last week. I forgot. Not all of, I did remember this giveaway, but I do a weekly $5 giveaway, and then I also do a monthly giveaway, which is giving a membership out to one of you guys to SweetSpotDFS.com. You didn't know, that's a website of mine where I put all my data in, that I go over everything SweetSpot related. You can check out a link for that website in the description of this video. You can see that right now while I'm going live. Go check it out. I made some very impactful updates on desktop. I just reminded myself I need to make those updates on mobile. So I apologize for all the mobile users. They have not yet been made, but on desktop, they have been, and they're fantastic. I will show you guys what those updates are throughout this video. I did during the members only video last Wednesday. Again, there will be a members only video this week, Wednesday at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. To be able to watch that, you need to be a white tier member on YouTube. So a white tier member of mine on YouTube. So go check out the little join button somewhere down here and become a white tier member. What's going on, John Bizzle? Nice to see you. What else do I have? Anything? Yeah, monthly will be the first Tuesday of the new month. I will actually do that during the Pro Core Championship. So if you didn't already know, we have the Tour Championship this week. Next week is a week off, and then it's the Pro Core. The Pro Core will be September something, right? It might actually be the end of September. I'm going to double check on that right now. I totally forgot. Pro Core is actually September 11th. So my mistake. We actually have, yeah, so we have next week off, which is the 31st, basically. So Labor Day. And you actually have the next week off. So we got 2 weeks off. 2 weeks off. You know what? I'm looking forward to it. It's been a long grind of streaming this year, so it's nice to have 2 weeks off. I didn't know it was 2 weeks off. That's insane. 2 weeks off. And then it's another week off, and then it will be the Ryder Cup at the end of September. So really, I will only be streaming one time next month because I will not be streaming for the Ryder Cup. I don't have match play or team event. Actually, I kind of do on the new updates. I'll go over that here shortly, but yeah, I'll look. I don't know if I don't think I'm going to do anything for the Ryder Cup, if I'm being honest with you guys. I don't have enough data. I don't even know how to attack those types of slates. Maybe I'll do enough research and make enough updates to be able to do that. Damn, 2 weeks. 2 weeks off. Here, if you guys aren't seeing this, you can actually see it on the website also, and I should actually show that. So here, I'm going to throw this on the screen. So I'm looking right here, September 11th, September 26th. We are currently obviously right here in the Tour Championship, August 21st, 24th, Pro Core. But also on the website, SweetSpotDFS.com, if you wanted to check the PGA Tour schedule, there's actually a tool for this. And I create it for you guys so you guys can see. A buddy of mine wanted this. And we can see which, select the date that we're currently on. And you'll see that there's a Tour Championship for it. However, you can just scroll down and just see the last week of the season. That's nuts. Do I have the fall season up too? Oh, I do. Okay, so yeah, you can click on the fall season, and that will show up after the Tour Championship. So you can see the dates that are there as well. So anyways, yeah. If you guys didn't know that, that's available. SweetSpotDFS.com, PGA Tour schedule. Okay. Let's go back to this. I am sorry for kind of going off topic, but I did want to show you guys that and talk about kind of the schedule that's coming on. So, giveaways, weekly $5 giveaway. This will be the last week until the new month, the next month. So, the monthly giveaway that I'll be putting right there, that will be available during the Pro Core Championship, September 11th. September 11th, which is crazy, 9/11. We will be doing a monthly giveaway for a membership. Maybe we'll try to make that something a little bit cooler, because that's no, we'll do that, and then I might just, for that video, give out some merch, because that'll be the only thing for that month. So be tuned, or stay tuned. Be there or be square, pretty much. Okay. Well, how about this? Let's stop wasting time. Let's do the giveaway. We do have the weekly subscriber. There are 20 total entries. Basically, every 1 hour mark, I'll do a roll call. I'll tend to do about 2. I think this video will be somewhat short today, since it is the Tour Championship. There's only 30 golfers to really talk about. So be on the lookout for that. But let's go ahead. Let's find our winner, our weekly winner, $5. John Bizzle. Congrats, man. I think you have some money that is stored. So this just adds right on top of that. Congrats, John. That was roll call number 1 from last week. Okay. Also, by the way, there is another giveaway. If you guys aren't aware of this, go sign up on SweetSpotDFS.com to get an entry into this giveaway. I'm giving $1,000 away once this channel reaches 1,000 subscribers. I forgot to mention this last week, but here I am mentioning it this week. Now, I have noticed that some people are not renewing their subscriptions to SweetSpotDFS.com for the fall season. I understand. However, there's still a fall season to attack, and the updates that I have made to the website, I think, are much worth it. So I'm going to show you what those what those updates are. But again, I'm giving $1,000 of giveaways away: lifetime membership to the channel or to the website, annual membership. So for the whole next year, you'll be able to use it, and then 2 $100 cash giveaways. So if you don't really care for the membership, you can still win cash money. But let's go ahead. I'm going to show you these updates that I made on the website. So for this page called Historic Salary Builds, and actually every page except for the golf course stats, you're going to see this pane over here on the left side. I'm going to have this zoomed in. Okay, I do. Why is that one so much better? Must be, I'll have to double check that. That's interesting. I didn't think it was going to be different. It doesn't matter. Anyways, I have this pane over here that you can see there are filters. Now, you might not be able to see it on the screen right now, but if you hover over each of them, it shows you what the filter is. So we have fantasy stats filter. When you drill down on that, you have all of these filters that you can use on each of these pages. I've said that I've been working on this for a while. It finally is here. So you guys can take advantage of all the filters that I have. I might add some more in the future. I'm not positive about that. I like what it looks like already. I don't know if I need to add anything else, but I'll actually, you know what? During the off season, I'm going to create videos, tutorial videos on how to use these filters and how to use each of these pages. And I'll add some kind of like little bubble up here that will be like a little info bubble. So you just click on that and a video will appear as to how to use this. So be on the lookout for that. But yeah, I have all of these filters that you can use to your advantage on any one of these pages. Now, I will say this. Some of them only make sense for some of the pages. So for instance, this historic salary builds, if we go under fantasy stats, you see how it says historic lineup filters? This is pretty much just exclusive to this historic salaries page, historic salary builds. If I were to go to past optimal and GPP winners and use these filters, it may not make sense to you. I will explain how or what this is doing for any of these other pages outside of the historic salary builds. Basically, anytime there is so this page alone is kind of unique onto its own. There's a separate database for this report. Basically, this is a report. They are linked to the tournament table that I have. So all the filters work through that tournament table. If you were to go ahead and say, you know what, I want to look at all lineups that use 50,000, 49,900, and 49,800, that's basically looking here at the historic salary builds table. And any time there was a lineup, whether it was a GPP winning lineup, an optimal lineup, or a sweet spot optimal, it is filtering out by those. And if it shows a tournament, then if I go to one of these other pages, it will only show those tournaments. So it may not make sense to you to use those filters on these other pages, and it's not supposed to, unless you know how to use it. Now that's a bit more advanced. I'd say don't sweat it. You don't have to use those. Just use filters that make sense to you. Now there is a little pink eraser button. This erases all filters on that page. So this historic salary builds, whatever you put in here, once you hit the little eraser, boom, they go away. Pretty cool, huh? So all of these are updates. I told everybody that was in the members only video. I showed everybody how to use these filters. I showed them all the updates. I'm super excited for it. So again, going back to this giveaway, like, come on. We are on the road to making this one of the best websites in fantasy for fantasy golf. I understand you've got some big ones out there that just care about strokes gain stats, and I bet you don't even know how to use strokes gain stats. Why not just look at fantasy stats? Put all these filters in, figure out the golfers that you want to put in your lineups based off of what you research on this website. That's all you need. It's all I need. It's all I need, and I do pretty well for myself when it comes to this fantasy game. So that's my little sell job for you guys. But yeah, oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't even showing the screen. My bad. I was talking about all the filters. The little eraser button is what I was going at. So this little pink eraser button, there we go. Now you see it. Now you see it. It was hidden behind the little giveaway reminder. But yes, I was talking about any filters you put on, you hit the little pink eraser button and it just disappears. And I actually should, instead it says click here to follow, I should actually create a little pop-up for you there. And that little I button, I don't know if you guys saw me talk about that, but that'll be right next to the title of each of these reports. A video will pop up showing you how to use the page. You can use that to your advantage or not. Or maybe I should have it actually pop up a new window. That would make more sense, right? We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Anyways, and I was talking about the other filters. I hope you guys figured that one out. Anyways, we'll get to that later. So, like I said, sign up at SweetSpotDFS.com. I know this is a long intro before we get into the video. I appreciate you guys watching all the way up until now. I just wanted to get that out before the end of the season, because the new season's, or the fall season's going to happen, and then the new season, I mean, we're 4 months away from the new season, so it's not that big of a deal, but you might as well get a username created, get an account created, basically. Okay, that's enough of that. Do we have any questions in the chat? I see nobody talking, and that's fine. That is a-okay. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the first thing, and that's the golf course, obviously. All right, Tour Championship. We all know this is played at the East Lake Golf Club. No real big changes. The one change, that is hole 14. It used to be a par 5. So if you look at 14, hole 4, 530 yards. If I drill down on 2024, you're going to see that changes to a par 5, 580 yards. And that is the beautiful thing about this page on SweetSpotDFS.com, golf course stats. You can cycle through each of the years for the golf course in the tournament, and you can see the differences on either grass type. Like, look at this. It goes, the greens went from mini verde Bermuda in 2023 to Tiff Eagle Bermuda in 2024. And the architect, Andrew Green, in 2024 made a bunch of renovations. So that's one of the beautiful things about this tool, if you didn't already know. But yes, here's the other thing too, right away. If you want to see changes, look at the yardage. See how the yardage and the par changes? We go 74.90, par 71, to 2025 it's 74.40, par 70, but also the turf grass changes too. We go from 0.325 in the fairways to 0.385, so they're a little fuzzier, they're a little longer. The rough is 3.5 inches long this year, as opposed to 2.5. So everything is a little grown out. That might make things a bit more challenging. That means the score might not be as low as it once was. I mean, the score doesn't really get low at this tournament. If we look here, I mean, okay. Well, I'll finish what I'm going to talk about with the golf course, but we do need to talk about the tournament. And I'm going to have to use my other spreadsheets in order to show this. So there was a starting score for what, the last 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, last 6 years, from 2019 on, there was a starting score. That means golfers started, you know, like if you're the #1 golfer in the FedEx Cup standings, you start at -10. And then you just try to win the tournament from there. They did away with that. So I guess I have to talk about that in order to make this make sense. So the winning score is difficult to see. Boy, oh boy, I might have to bring in a different page for this. Let me see if I can figure something out here with this page. Maybe, maybe not. I don't have it. I don't have that showing here, which is a bummer. My bad. Something I should have done. That's all right. That's all right. I don't really care about the Tour Championship, if I'm being quite honest with you. That's why those updates haven't really, they haven't been made. I'm taking a look here. So last year, Xander shot, it's a par 71. It was 1 under. 1 under plus 7 under, that's 8 under, even 8 under plus, so that's 11 under. He started at -8, shot 11 under, that's what, -19? Is that what we have here? No, we don't. Yes, we do. That's how it was, -19. Okay, well, I don't have a way to show you guys what the winning score was. I don't have the totals. I guess I can go by DK points, because only 30 points, and this is where we're going to talk about Scottie Scheffler here shortly. So Scottie last year shot what? 6 under plus 5 under plus 5 unders, that's 10 or 16 under plus 4, that's -20. He shot -20. I think Collin Morikawa was the low guy, right? He went 5 under plus 8 under, that's 13 under, plus 4 under, that's -17, plus 5, that's -22. So he shot 22 under. So Collin Morikawa shot 22 under. I think that was the lowest score. -22. Yeah, man, I'm sorry, guys. I wish I would have had this, like I would have been able to show you guys. I didn't even think about that. I don't think -22 is going to be achievable this week, but I still think like -18 is going to be achievable. I think somewhere from -16 to -20. I know that's kind of a large gap, but I think that's what your winning score is going to be this year. So take that with what you want. And I don't even know, do I have that as a tournament stat? Like -16 to, I don't think I do. Oh, yeah, winning score, duh. Yeah, so if you wanted to put, say, this would be your max, and then this would be your min. You have to do it kind of backwards. So I think the winning score would be like between -20 and -16, basically. And you're not going to see that with the Tour Championship. But you can put other filters on here. So we want a field size between 18 to maybe 70. Maybe that would make sense. And you can put all these other filters on here if you want. Actually, the stroke gain stat, this one right here has this week's field up in this box right here. So if you were to go ahead and put those same filters on, so let's just do 70. Come down here, winning score is -20 to -16. And then you can sort by total and see who the best golfers are. Just in this box right here that I'm kind of scrolling over, that's this week's field, is right in this box. It's a little summary box to show you who the best golfers are for whatever criteria that you choose. So Scottie by a landslide, but there's Andrew Novak up there. And heck, if you wanted to use grass stats to include it with this, to even go a little bit deeper, green grass, we can use Bermuda. Just drill down on Bermuda. Now, some people might have stats, some people might not have stats. JJ Spawn has 4 rounds. He's the best on these conditions. Then it's Scottie, then it's Novak, Batia, Hovland, McIntyre. You can see all the rounds that go with them. So some of these guys, maybe you don't really care that much because they have a limited sample size, or maybe some of them you're just going to go with. You might roll with it because why not? So again, you can use these filters. I love them, man. It's so good. And this is the strokes gain stats page. I just named it that because I didn't know anything else to name it. So yeah, that's available to you guys. You can go ahead and use those filters and just double check to see which golfers make sense for you to play, and whatever stats, off the tee, approach, around the green, putting, tee to green, all that good stuff. Okay. So I was kind of talking about the starting scores and just what type of score to anticipate this week. Yes, the tournament has done away with starting scores. Like I was just saying, if I sort this from, this is last year's 2024 Tour Championship, Scottie started at -10. If I go back to my results page, he won at -30. So that means he shot 20 under, which is obviously really good, but he had such a head start. Now, technically, Colin Morikawa beat him when it came to starting scores. He shot -22. Not starting scores, but just performance-wise. Colin Morikawa shot -22 last year. So he technically beat Scottie Scheffler, but because of the starting strokes, Scheffler was the winner. We don't have those starting strokes this year. So that makes research a bit trickier when it comes to the Tour Championship. And when we talk about the bucket system later, we kind of have to throw out course history and tournament history. Because like I just went over, going back to 2019, we had starting strokes. So you were taking out 6 years of data that really don't make sense. Why would we use that data? There's no more starting strokes. But if you, and I don't even know how to use playing strokes, performance strokes. I think you can still do it. I'm a firm believer that, you know, just your performance at a particular golf course speaks volumes as to how well someone, or just really the potential of how someone can play well at this particular course. So I do believe looking at course statistics like scores. So if you were to go back to SweetSpotDFS.com, put in Tour Championship. Let's go ahead and clear all the filters and put in Tour. We look at the Tour Championship and say you wanted to look at Scottie Scheffler's performances. What you will see in this scoring summary box up here is his averages in rounds 1, 2, 3, and 4. And this is without starting strokes. You can look at his low rounds, his high rounds, how many eagles he gets on average, how many birdies. You can actually switch this to totals, and you can go back and forth just to see, well, okay, what does it mean? You know, what does it mean that he only has 0.2 eagles in round 1? Well, if you go to totals, it means he only got 1 eagle for all the rounds he played, and you can see all of the rounds that he has played at the Tour Championship. He has 5. He's played here the last 5 years. And you can also see his finish, scored a par. That obviously includes starting strokes, but you can see his round 1 scores, round 2 scores, 3, 4, his average for, you know, the tournament, his lows, how many rounds under 70, what his position was after round 1, after round 2, after round 3. So this tool here is fun to look at as well. And really, there's only 30 golfers. So if you wanted to, you could kind of filter or cycle between the 2 pages I have here, strokes gain stats. So if you wanted to go look at Rory, you know, clear this out and put in Rory. That's easy. And so you can see all of his Tour Championships. I have his data going back to 2014. Look at that. He does pretty well. You know, when it comes to just finishes, you can look at his summary versus, like, look at his low rounds, his median rounds, his average rounds, his, you know, how many eagles, how many birdies, all that good stuff. This is all available to you guys. So do all your research that way. I'm not going to go over all of these golfers. You know, I just like to spot check some of them and give you guys the opportunities to go ahead and take a look for yourself at SweetSpotDFS.com. Okay. I think, just speaking a little bit more of this tournament, there are only 30 golfers in the field. It is the top 30 golfers from the FedEx Cup finals, basically. And one thing to remind you guys, there is a cheat sheet that's available for you all. I forgot to mention this earlier because, you know, I just tend to do that at times. If you go to SweetSpotDFS.com and you go under Fantasy Tools, you can find the cheat sheet that way. I do have two of them. There's this one that you can see that looks very incomplete. I understand. And then there's this one down here. I encourage you guys to go use this one. Click here. Once you click there, the dream sheet, the cheat sheet will pop up. You do not need an account for this on SweetSpotDFS.com. You can just go there, check it out. But yes, there are only 30 golfers in the field. There is a bucket system. We'll talk about this a little bit later. I don't have anything else to say. We'll talk more about this when we get in there. But all of this is available for you guys. Again, go to the website, SweetSpotDFS.com. Under cheat sheet for the fantasy tools, obviously click cheat sheet, scroll down until you click here. That'll get you access to the cheat sheet. And also, while we're talking about it, you go to fantasy tools and you go down to optimizer. It'll pop up this page, which will then have this pop up. You put your email address here, you request now, and I will send you the optimizer. So that's available to you as well. But anyways, 30 golfers. This has more to do about strategy and lineup building than it really has to do about researching, to be quite frank, to be completely honest with you guys. This has more to do with lineup structure than it has to do with really what golfers you put in your lineups. And like I said, we're going to do a deep dive on that, but really don't have anything else to talk about the golf course or the tournament information. I'm giving you guys the ability to go research this on your own. Go to SweetSpotDFS.com. All of that is behind a paywall. So you will have to either sign up for the weekly or the monthly or the annual or even lifetime. I still have 23 lifetime spots open. So go sign up and you'll get it for forever. Okay. I don't have anything else to talk about with the course and tournament information. All right. AJ says fall is here. Almost. Well, now, Kawa sucks. He might. Wheels up goes, my core picks this week are Colin, M, and Scottie. I am backing Colin due to strong course history and form, believing his talent will prevail. Sunday is also in my lineup. That must be a misspell, right? Sungjae. There it is. I was looking down to see where, if you corrected yourself. Yeah, Sungjae is also in my lineup, he says. He's young, elite, and hungry. Or a solid 6K pick. Plus, I consider Scottie superior to Tiger. Oh no, it only took you a whole season, Logan. A whole season. That's like saying LeBron is better than Jordan. Ooh, I actually don't even think that's true. That's a fun argument to make, though. Saying Scottie is superior to Tiger is like saying LeBron is better than Jordan. Whew. I don't think that's the same, but I understand the concept behind it, the reason behind it. I was watching Tiger Woods' 2018 Tour Championship. That guy did not miss a putt, like throughout the entire week that he played. The big difference between Scottie and Tiger in their game, I would say Scottie's a better driver of the golf ball than Tiger. I understand that might be weird here because when Tiger came onto the scene, he hit the ball so much further and with more veracity than any of the other PGA Tour golfers. Scottie's just straighter. He's straighter. He hits his irons better than Tiger, but he does not putt at all as close to Tiger. Tiger's putting, if we make a Madden rating, and I understand there's a PGA Tour golf video game out there, but they don't do ratings like how Madden does it. If you were to do a rating on Tiger Woods' putting, it'd be 100. It'd be 100. And then when it came to pressure putts, that would be at 100. When it comes to Scottie with putting, Scottie's putting would be like a 75. He's not terrible as most people think he is, but he's not great. It'd be like a 75, and then pressure putts would be like a 80, maybe less. So, but Scottie's driving would be like a 97. If you would have to add accuracy in there, that would also be like a 97. Tiger might have like 99 for driving, but his accuracy would be like a 60. Like it wasn't that great. Anyways, that was a bit of a tangent. We didn't need to really go down there. Anyways, let's talk about pass optimal and GPP winning lineups. Of course, I'm going to start here at the historic salary builds page that I have on SweetSpotDFS.com. Again, there's a link for this in the description. Go check it out. Create an account if you haven't already, and you'll have access to all of this. First things first, I already mentioned this during the golf course and tournament information section. This Tour Championship is unlike the last 6 Tour Championships. The last 6 had starting strokes. That's just, oh man, that throws a huge wrench into everything, because there isn't a tournament similar to this one. There's only 30 people in the field. So really what you could do is use the filters, the new filters that I created for each of these pages, each of these reports over here. And under tournament stats, I would just put field size 70. So if you didn't already know what this page does, it basically looks at the 3 types of lineups that I record every single week. I record the GPP winning lineup, the optimal lineup, which obviously is the perfect lineup, and the Sweet Spot Optimal, which is the best lineup that uses $49,600 of the salary and above. In the case, or in the scenario where I cannot find a lineup to take down a GPP, I will use less salary. Meaning sometimes that salary might be $49,400 that you're using in order to build the Sweet Spot Optimal. Sometimes it might be $49,200. But I want to build a lineup that takes down an optimal lineup that ends up being the best lineup that isn't, oh, I'm sorry, not the optimal, the GPP winner. I want the Sweet Spot Optimal to take down the GPP winner and be as close to the optimal lineup as possible. That's basically the 3 lineups. That's what you can anticipate with each one of those. So the very first filter I put on here is field size 18 to 70. It should probably be less. It should probably be like 50. But you can see how many different lineups this pulls out. So if I don't have any filters on, we're looking at 1,000 lineups, 1061. Putting those filters on, just this filter, I should say, 18 to 15 or 18 to 50, it goes down to 58 lineups. I'm taking out 1,000 lineups. And you can see what the most common lineup builds are: 10-9-8-8-6-6, 10-9-7-7-7-6, 10-10-8-3-6s. That there's 5 iterations of that. And you can drill down on each one of these lineups to see where they come from. Hero World Challenge and the Tour Championship. Now, I will make note of this. Starting strokes happened in 2019 to 2024. So really, if you want to look at Tour Championships what you should do is select all of them and get rid of each one of these years. And you can see, I mean, you can't find any tournament down here. I'm not exactly sure which. Oh, you know what? It's because I have this selected. So if I unselect that, now we go back here and we remove each of these years. We can see which lineups were the most successful. Now this kind of stinks because I'm getting rid of all of the other tournaments outside of the Tour Championship. So you can't really, you have to choose what you want to look at. Now we can look at this and you can see what the most common lineup build, 9, 9, 8, and 3 7s. So a balanced build, 10, 9, 2 8s, and 2 6s. And then it just kind of fluctuates. Or what you could do is select everything. So everything is now selected because I hit this button. But if you select all, they're all black, that means they're all chosen. If you deselect all of them, that means they're all chosen. So just throwing that out there. What you could do is basically select all and then hit Tour Championship and remove that. So the reason that I'm removing that is because I do have this field size filter in here. So we're still looking at field sizes of 18 to 50. So we have, now there's 37 different lineups. And look at that. You kind of see the same one at the top, 10, 9, 2 8s, and 2 6s. Again, you can drill down and check to see which tournaments those belong to, and they're all of the Tournament of Champions, or the Century as it's called now. I still call it the Tournament of Champions. You can find all of those lineup builds there, all the different types of lineups there. Then there's a 10, 3 8s, a 7, and a 6. And oh by the way, I do have this page. I am obviously changing to a different page. This is called the Pass Optimal and GPP Winners. You can see that on the little drop down. If you want to see which of those events, you know, which one was it? This one. So Tournament Champions, the 2023 Tournament Champions, the GPP winner and the optimal lineup. So if we go here, we go 2023, we put in the Tournament of Champions, we can see what the GPP winning lineup was. And you can see the individual price tags. It was 10,000 flat. Here, let's go like this. Let's sort it like this. 10,000 flat. Then it was 9,400, 87, 86, 68, 65. Bet you that was probably the optimal lineup as well. Did it change? It didn't even change. Yeah. So that, well, it did. It did. Sorry. The optimal scored 819.5 points. The GPP scored 793. So now we can see what the optimal was, which still followed the same salary structure. It was a $10,000 John Rahm, 94, 87, 86, 65, and 63. Who were the other different guys? The bottom. It was the bottom golfers. So Tom Kim, JT Poston, the GPP. Tom Kim was 87, JT Poston was 68. Oh, it was just the bottom guy. It was the difference of JT Poston scoring 99 points versus JJ Spawn scoring 125 points. JJ Spawn, we were already just talking about him, right? Interesting. Okay, well, see, these are all tools you can use also. Going to SweetSpotDFS.com. Okay, going back to here. So here's the whole kit caboodle. We need to know what to do with this man right here, Scottie Scheffler. What are we gonna do with Scottie? I told you I wanted to get into the nitty gritty. I want to talk this out because if I clear all these filters out, actually, let's go to this one. Clear all these filters out. And I put in the BMW Championship from last week, the BMW Championship. And we just look at points. Scottie scored 120.5 points. If I just go top to bottom, sorry, 2024. Not 2024, 2025. Sorry. Okay. If we go top to bottom when it comes to DraftKings points, Scottie scored 115 more points than anyone else. That's what you have to anticipate when someone is that high of a price tag, $13,400. Will he or can he be in an optimal lineup or even a GPP winning lineup? So if I click on the optimal lineup and sort from salary top to bottom, look at this. So the optimal scored 558.5 points, and it used up $49,800 of the salary. By the way, this is also the SweetSpot optimal because there isn't a better lineup. There isn't a better lineup that takes down a GPP winning lineup that uses $49,600 of the salary and above. So it has to be the optimal as well. The GPP winning lineup scored 554 points. You see that? Optimal scored 558.5. The GPP winning lineup scored 554. But it had Scottie Scheffler in it. So it went 13,400 down to an $8,100 Robert McIntyre, who finished second. Then it was Harry Hall at 78, Mav McNeely at 75, Taylor Pendrith at 72, and then Stoneman, the cheapest golfer in the field. So if I deselect this and I just look at salaries top to bottom, and I scroll all the way down to the bottom, Michael Kim is tied for the lowest price as Brian Campbell. And he was in the GPP winning lineup. He was not in the optimal. He was not in the SweetSpot optimal, but he was in the GPP. The GPP winner got cut 5 ways. 5 people tied for first place. 5 people had that GPP winning lineup. This one right here. 5 people had it. The only way to have beaten that is to do the optimal lineup, which did not have Scottie Scheffler in it, by 4.5 points. 4.5. Listen, I'm all about chasing the optimal lineup. Absolutely, 1,000%, especially when it uses $49,600 of the salary and above. I do not chase optimals that use less money than that, like less salary. It's virtually impossible. Like, good luck. Your chances of hitting an optimal lineup that leaves thousands of dollars on the table is literally, I mean, it's non-existent. You have zero shot. Zero shot. So for me, seeing that the SweetSpot optimal did not have Scottie Scheffler in it gives me a little cause of concern for this week. And here are some of the reasons why. One, I don't anticipate this to be a low scoring event. So imagine this. If Scottie, if we go to 2024 and you look at, here, let's go top to bottom. Well, that's BMW Championship. I want not the BMW Championship. I want the Tour Championship. So if you look at the 2024 Tour Championship, Scottie scored 141.5 points. Sahith Theegala scored 136 points. Then Collin Morikawa at $9,100 scored 129, and then there was a 15-point drop, pretty much. 14.5 point drop. And then there was another 8-point drop from that. Scottie Scheffler shot 20 under last year at this event. DraftKings points goes by birdie scored, it goes by eagle scored, it goes by birdie streaks, it goes by all rounds under 70. All of those things add up. And Scottie did have all rounds under 70. You can actually see what his raw DK points were over here. This does not incorporate starting strokes. It doesn't incorporate, starting strokes is the same as position points. So this doesn't include winning the tournament. This includes your performance. Now, he was the second best performer, but if we click on the optimal lineup, Scottie Scheffler was still in it because it included Sahith and Collin Morikawa. You could actually build a lineup, and that's because it was $12,200. Scottie Scheffler was $12,200. That's not this year. $13,400. is what his salary is this year. I don't know if it's possible or if it's even feasible. Because if we're looking at finishes from top to bottom, look at all the prices just from last year. You have $12,200 winning the tournament, $9,100 Colin Morikawa, 7, 7, 4, 7, 9, 11,000, 7, 5, 8, 1, 9, 6, 10, 1, 7, 3, 8, 3, 8, 5. Excuse me, where's the 6K golfer? Actually, when I sort by points now, DraftKings points, we do have Taylor Pendrith 6,500. That's it. Oh, I guess JT down here 68, and Pendrith was in the optimal lineup. That is the only way Scottie Scheffler is going to be in the optimal lineup or in the GPP winning lineup this week. Because when we look at the salaries, and again, this is a deep dive. I want to go through this as a deep dive. Here, I'm going to go to this. This is my behind the scenes bucket system, basically. When we look at the salaries right here, just want to make sure, did we have any 5K range? Oh, we did. Ugh. I'm not going to be able to show that properly. Never mind. The fact there were 5K golfers, that just completely changes everything. It completely changes how I'm thinking about presenting this to you. Anyway, I'm going to continue to riff, and there's not going to be any data behind this, so my apologies on that. But when we take a look, 13,900, if you start with 13,900, actually, let's do this right now with a DraftKings lineup. Oh my God. Come on, DraftKings. All right. So let's clear this out. Put Scheffler in there. We have $7,200 remaining. That's not terrible. Really, it's not terrible. 7,200 is just fine. But we don't have that many golfers that are $7,200 and below. Maybe we can just count them right here. You've got Mav McNeely. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 at Sung Jae, 12, 13. 13 total golfers, $7,200 and below. Now, obviously, we can put one of our cheap guys in. I know Logan was talking about Sung Jae. I also like Sung Jae. If you didn't see, he was in my dummy lineup. At 6,200, that only bumps it up to $7,400 that you can do. So what is the likelihood if we start a lineup like this? These are my favorite 3 6K golfers in the on the slate. Now I have 8,300. That works out okay. I mean, you can do a couple different ways. One of the more common lineup builds would be going from a 91, like a $9,000 golfer, into a 7K. So you would have a 10, 9, 7, and 3 6s. So yeah, I mean, I like this lineup. I think this is my dummy lineup. Something like this can work, but again, using this pass optimal lineup, this is 2024, just GPP winner. GPP winner it only had 1 6K golfer in it. I go to 2023. Now we have 5K golfers. Guess what we don't have this week? 5K golfers, but we have someone more expensive. If I change this, look at this. Scottie Scheffler in 2023 was $13,400. So he's 13.4 then. McIlroy was 13,000. And when you just sort by raw DK points, where are we going to find these guys? They're down here. There's Scheffler down here. I don't even have a place to show you like where he, and then there's Rory. So yeah, we did have 2 5Ks. Now, if I were to do a price conversion on this year, 2023, to get these 5Ks to 6K golf, like to be 6Ks, would actually push like Hovland up to 13.3, 13.5. It pushed Xander up to 11.2, 11.4. You would get like a $15,000 Scottie Scheffler, and then a $14,000 Rory McIlroy because you have to, or wait, no, it wouldn't go that way. It would go the opposite way. My bad. It would actually shrink them. Yeah, completely shrink them. If you lower the bottom, or if you higher the bottom, or if you raise the bottom, you have to lower the top. That's the only way, because you want to average the salaries out to be about the same as what they are right now. So my apologies. Let me erase what I just said. So now Scheffler would be 9 something, and Hovland would be 11.2, maybe 11,000 on the button, and that would be the most expensive. You go from an $11,000 golfer to like a $9,000 golfer. These guys would both be 6Ks. Morikawa would be like an 8K golfer, but if I go ahead and hit that GPP winner, so what do we see here? Yeah, Hovland would probably go down to 11,000 flat, most likely. Xander would go down to 92, 93. Henley would go down to not much, because when we do this normally, it's like it just shrinks it like this. So Henley actually doesn't move down that much. He might be an 81. Morikawa would probably stay at 77, and these guys would be 6K golfers. Shank would be probably a $6,200, $6,300 golfer, and Straka would be like a $6,700 golfer. But that's only 2 6K golfers. That's not 3, and it doesn't include the most expensive golfer. I know this might be a little confusing, but like this is just one of those exercises to show you the most expensive golfer, like Scheffler, finishing 2nd at the Tour Championship. Let's not talk about it that way. My bad. Let's not talk about it that way. I'm going to go with just DraftKings points. Rory scored 144 points. Actually, raw DK points. Rory scored 114. Where's Scottie? Scottie scored 78.5. That alone isn't going to do it. Scottie has to be the highest scoring point total, and then the second place guy has to be probably $9,000 and cheaper. That has to be within like 15 points of him to still make a Scottie Scheffler lineup work. And then the next guy below that needs to be like 20 points away. Like a cheaper golfer. Or even, I guess it doesn't have to be an extremely cheaper golfer, but there has to be a big gap of scores like that. And I don't even know if that's possible this week. Birdies are really, okay. Actually, said I was going to do a deep dive into this. How are we going to go about doing that? I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in a different direction than when I started, because if there were more birdies to be scored, that's a definite Scottie can't be in your lineup. When position points matter more, Scottie would be someone that you'd want in your lineup or need in your lineup. Yeah, to me, we got to look at the discrepancy between the low-priced golfers. Are any of these guys mispriced? I mean, that's kind of what we got to look at. From $6,900 or $7,200 down, are any of these guys mispriced compared to up here? I mean, what I could do is put my sweet spot ranks on everything and see what we have. So Novak is $6,000. He's 30th in my model. He probably deserves to be down there. Nick Taylor's 29th in my model. He's 6,300. Bridgman is 61. He should probably be down there. Akshay Bhatia is probably too expensive for what I have. Mav McNeely is too expensive than what I have. So who is our cheapest guy? Harris English and Justin Rose, 69 and 68. And then Shane Lowry and Sung J M. So those guys, Sung Jae and Shane Lowry, are mispriced based off of my model. 64 and 62. So I kind of have those guys in there, right? With my lineup. Oh, I was gonna say, what happened to my, okay, it's right here. So 62, Sung Jae, Lowry 64, Rose 68. A lineup like this is doable. And in all reality, I think here, let's build something else. Just to throw this out there. Like, so Rory has a pretty good record here. Let's put 2 of those guys in that we just had. Sungjae being one of them. And let's just do Rose just to be somewhere in the middle, like just be equal. Now we have 8,500, which is what we had with Scottie after putting 3 6K golfers in. So now what can we do here? Can we build like a pretty balanced lineup? Can I go Burns, Morikawa, and Cantlay? So is a lineup like this better than the one I just had? Probably. Yeah, I'd say probably. I don't have any faith in, I mean, that's kind of the substitution that I'm doing. It's either Burns, Morikawa, or Cantlay, whoever you think. We're replacing him with Shane Lowry. We're replacing one of these guys with Shane Lowry and one of the other guys with Justin Thomas. Now, I might like Morikawa better than Thomas this week. So if I went like this and we go Scheffler, Morikawa, now what do I have left? I have $7,400 left. So this actually to me might make way more sense, and it would be much doable. It'd be an easier one to do. I really like Straka though. So let's put Straka in there. And we just saw McNeely might be a little over. I like Harry Hall. So I could go 13.9 into 83, 76. So something like this actually looks pretty good too. And basically what I'm making a substitution for is Scheffler, from Rory to Scheffler. And we still have Morikawa in both those lineups. But I'm trading, say, Patrick Cantlay for Sepp Straka, which I probably take Sepp Straka over Cantlay. And then the other guy that I had was Sam Burns. Harry Hall, Sam Burns, which probably closer than you think. Probably closer than you think. So basically I started this whole segment saying you can't play Scottie Scheffler with anybody. And now when I'm putting these lineups together, it feels like you can. So I'm all over the place. I'm all over the place. I just don't know. Highest price golfer in a lineup. Let's put in 13,000 to 14,000. And the lowest price golfer has to be 6,000. These used to be those old filters. You remember on this page? These used to be those old filters. And we only have 15 lineups. And the most common salary build was 10, 8, 7, 7, 6, 6, 10, 8, 7, and 3 6s. Just did that. We just did that. 8, 7, and 3 6s. And that was at the Charles Schwab, and 2 of them in 2025 and 1 in 2017. Oh my God, guys. Are you kidding me? I was almost for certain like thinking Scottie Scheffler you can't put him in a lineup this week. You know, okay, hold on. Let's do more of a deep dive, honestly. I want to see the point discrepancies. Like, is this common? So 2024, we go from 118 down to 111. 111 to 109, that's not much. 109 to 101, that's not much. So like a lot of these, that's not a lot. But he was in the optimal lineup last year, Scottie Scheffler. Okay, a big reason that happened is because Sahith was $7,000. And then Pendrith was up there as well. You need those two pieces. You need a 7K and a $6,500 golfer in order to make that all work out. That was 2024. 2023. We get Xander at 106, then goes 103, then it's a big drop off, 12 points. And that's a cheap golfer, 54, and then it's Adam Schenk at 52. And in all reality, the only way that you can have two 10K golfers and above is because you have the two 5K golfers. 2022. We go from 114 to 100 to 91. So there is a 23-point difference between the third highest scoring golfer, just raw DK points, to Rory. And then it's not much of a drop off from 91 to where some of these other cheap golfers are. 5,000 Tom Hoagie, just stone min. You know what, though? I'm actually kind of... look at me just flip-flopping all over the place. Kevin Na scoring the most DraftKings points, just raw DraftKings points back in 2021. Rom, pretty decent. He was in the optimal lineup. I'm just looking at this column right here. Cantlay was the most expensive golfer heading into that. He did win. Scored 7 less just raw DK points. Huh. But look at these 5 golfers right here. Like, Cantlay won the tournament and was not in the optimal lineup. The only way these 4 golfers, JT, Rom, Schauffele, and Na, could be in the optimal is because Na was 6,000, Billy Horschel $5,100 right here, and Daniel Berger $5,800. So those were cheap golfers. Oh my god, dude! Seriously, this is actually difficult. Let's do this. So you can put those, you know how I told you you shouldn't be using those filters, like the historic lineup filters on other pages? You can actually use those here. So let's do this. Let's go 12,000 to, sure, 15,000. That's fine. And we actually can... Sure, I'll do this. Actually, I'm going to remove that filter out. Let's clear this one. And up here, I want 13,000. No, let's go 12,000 to 15,500. That's fine. So these are all of the golfers every single year. I'm going to sort them by year that were over $12,000. How many of them were in the optimal lineup? This is a good way to look at this. 12-2, Scottie in 2024 was in the optimal. Rory at 13,000. Actually, you know what I should do? Hold on. Oh, come on. Forget how to do this. Is it shift? Do I need to hold shift? I think I need to hold shift. There we go. We got it. You hold shift to do multiple sorts. Just hold shift. Okay. So 2024, 12,200. He was in the optimal lineup. 2023, Scottie and Rory, both 13,000 above. They were not in the optimal lineup. Hovland at 12,500 in 2023. he was in the optimal. And then 2022, you had 3 golfers that were over 12,000. Neither one of them were in the optimal lineup. 2021, Cantlay was over 13. He was not in the optimal, but John Rahm was. And Bryson was also 12,000 or above 12,000. He was not in the optimal lineup. So if we go up here, if you just look at this, you can kind of see the summary here. Of the 10 total golfers, only 3 of them were in the optimal lineup. 4 of them were in the GPP winning lineup, and 3 of them were in the Sweet Spot optimal. Showing you that golfers that expensive just don't get it done. So how do we feel about that, guys? Do we... I'm curious to see what you guys have to say in the chat. Do we think we can play Scottie this week? I mean, we're looking at historical data. Nothing's pointing to full certainty that Scottie's going to get it done. Even if he wins the tournament. Like Patrick Cantlay down here won the tournament and was not in the optimal lineup. Now he's the only one, him and DJ, but DJ was 15,200. Like that's when DraftKings was nuts. Victor won it in 2023. So 2023 and 2024, the guys that were over 12,000. But Victor wasn't the most expensive. And in 2023, you had, here, let's clear this out. 2023 Tour Championship. Did we have a 5K range in 2023? Yeah, we did. And 2 of them, the 2 cheapest guys, were in the optimal lineup. So that's how Victor Hovland could do it at 12.5. And again, if you adjust those salaries, so the 5Ks come up to the 6K, that means the top end, the $13,000 golfers, the 12, the 11,000, those guys are going to shrink down. So really Hovland, like I said before, would probably be like an $11,000 golfer, 11.2, 11.4, something like that. So I wouldn't even count Hovland in that group of golfers that were over 12,000 that won the tournament. I don't really know if that par 5 being converted to a par 4 is really going to make that much difference of scoring. It probably is, but that's only 4 holes in a tournament. If we go back to like this page here and put in Scottie Scheffler. Let's just go through this. So 2024, he had 7 birdies in round 1, 6 birdies in round 2, 6 birdies in round 3, 5 birdies in round 4, with an eagle also in round 4. If we just take 1 off of each one of these, that's still a lot of birdies. He had 24 birdies. Take 4 off, that's 20 birdies. 2023, only had 14. So yeah, that's considerably lower. Only 14 in 2022, only 14 in 2021, 17 in 2020, did not play in 2019. So last year, he went bananas. He scored 10 more birdies than he typically does. Obviously, he was better last year than any of the other years coming into this tournament. Here's what you can do. You can just put Scottie up here. We can filter by ID over on the far left side. You guys might not even see this, but you can sort by it. Can you, though? I guess maybe not. Let's go put 2025 in here. Okay. So You can just drill down on each one of these and it'll show you how many birdies he's been getting over the last couple tournaments. So here's a BMW, 21 birdies, 23 at the FedEx St. Jude, 20 at the Open, 13 at the Genesis Scottish Open, 21 at the Travelers, 15 at the US Open, 16 at the Memorial, 13 at the Charles Schwab Challenge, 19 at the PGA Champ, 29 at the CJ Cup. Yeah, we don't have to worry about that one. 20. So what? Like PGA Champ would be a pretty good comp, I would say. 19. He did finish first. I'm pretty sure he was in the optimal lineup then. Which one did I really want to look at? The Charles Schwab Challenge? Yeah, let's do this one. So 2025, Scottie Scheffler, 13,700. 2025 Charles Schwab Challenge. I'm going to go here. 2025, I'm going to clear this out and put in the Charles Schwab Challenge. Charles Schwab Challenge. He was in the optimal lineup, guys. Scottie Scheffler in the optimal lineup. Well, how is this possible? It's because 3 6K golfers. 2nd, 6th, and 11th. 87, 78. Okay. I mean, that's kind of the blueprint. If you're going to play Scottie, it's got to be a lineup like this. It's got to be 13 something, 87, or, you know, mid 8s, mid to high 7s if you want to go that route, and then 3 7Ks or 3 6Ks. Interesting. Because, okay, so I went over all this and looked at each one of like how many birdies that he had, right? I went through and looked at how many birdies he had in round 1 because I was just interested. Like, is he playing with the same type of game that he did the year before? So heading into the Tour Championship, so he had 24 birdies, like I said. If you went to the BMW at 16, St. Jude he had 19, France he had 23. Oh, this is very reminiscent of this year. Maybe not the US Open. These are almost identical numbers that you would have seen from the year after. We're looking at 2024. It's pretty much the same. Scottie Scheffler pretty much averages around 20 birdies, and that is good enough. That will be good enough to win Tour Champion. It'll be good enough to win the Tour Championship. It will also be good enough for you to take down a GPP. Damn, dude. I honestly, I thought this would be the one tournament I was going to tell you guys don't play Scottie Scheffler. I thought this would be the one tournament I would tell you don't play Scottie Scheffler. Again, it comes down to which guys do you like enough of these 9K golfers or these 8K? Not really. There's only 4 golfers in each of these. 3 golfers here, 4 golfers here. Like, I like Ludwig in general, but do I like him at all better than Scottie? No, not even when I'm thinking of lineup building. 10-1's too expensive. Fleetwood at 99 is too expensive. Like, this excites me. Burns, Morikawa, those excite me. I also really like Sepp Straka this week. Sepp Straka is probably one of my favorite plays this week. I understand he withdrew last week because of a family matter. I don't know what it is. I hope it wasn't a death in the family, because that can be sad and that might not work out that well trying to play Sepp Straka. But like, I don't care for Hideki. I don't care for Bob. I don't care for Keegan. I don't really care for McNeely or Connors. I really do like Harry Hall. And then I like English and Rose. I actually like Chris Goddard up, by the way. I really like Sung Jae, like Logan in the chat. I like him. And I actually don't mind going back to Shane Lowry, to be quite honest with you. I don't like how he's been playing recently, but you know, this would be a golf course to kind of turn it around. Yeah, I really don't care for Patrick Cantlay at this event. JT is interesting. Hovland's interesting. Henley's interesting. Okay, so maybe those 3 9K golfers might garner my attention. And honestly, I think maybe I would go like a Rory with one of these guys. And maybe I'll actually build a lineup that has 3 9Ks in it. I don't know. We'll see. We'll get there when it comes to lineup building. That's going to be it for the pass optimal and GPP winning lineups. I'm not going to continue to go down this route, this road. I just wanted to do my due diligence, do, you know, a deep dive into Scottie Scheffler and the capabilities of playing him this week, if it's possible. So it looks like it is. I think that's what I'll end up going with. Scottie's playing, take him. Yeah. My mistake last week was not playing Scottie. Yeah, I just don't know how we don't play Scottie. Yeah, Ben Griffin's actually a good choice. So I just saw AJ says my lineup now is Scheffler, Griffin, McNeely, Hall, English, and Connors. I do like Griffin. I think this is a great fit for Griffin. Ben Griffin. Okay. Let's move on. I really don't have. We can talk about the bucket system. We're not doing a review of the BMW. It doesn't really matter. Like looking into this week's tournament, I will say more buckets failed at the BMW Championship than any other tournament. Here, I'll show you guys. I'll just show it to you because I rather just show you instead of trying to tell you. This isn't really going to be much of a review, but so here are the buckets. Bucket, the last week bucket 2, that failed. I was projecting 1 to 4 golfers from this bucket to finish inside the top 10. 5 did, and then also 5 were in the optimal lineup. So we were close, but not close enough. This bucket, I was projecting 2 to 5, and only 1 finished inside the top 10, as well as in the optimal. I don't know why I only have 1 for the sweet spot optimal. I must have made a change to that. Maybe I didn't like, oh yeah, I didn't like course history because it was different. It was weird. This one here, the projection was 1 to 3. That was recent form 2 buckets. 4 were in the top 10, 4 in the optimal lineup. Salaries, 7K. I said 0 to 2, 3 ended up being in the optimal lineup and the top 10. And this one actually didn't fail. This should be a 0 to 3. So yeah, 4 buckets in total out of 36 failed. So still good, but not great. And I was pretty dubious. Like if you remember, if you went to the BMW Championship podcast and you listened or you watched, you saw that I didn't have any minimums selected. I only had maximums. But if you were to build a sweet spot optimal using the optimizer with the point totals afterwards, the best we would have done is 6th place in that Drive the Green contest because 5 people tied for first. That lineup that I built would have been good for 6th place, which would have been the next best lineup after those 5 golfers or those 5 people tied for first. So there is some success in that, but not quite. So anyways, that's the BMW recap. I'm not going to do any more than that. Let's talk about the bucket system for the Tour Championship. I'm just going to go over this because it's worth going over. I personally am not really going to take this that seriously with the buckets because we only have 30 golfers. There are only 30 golfers in the field and really only 3 buckets per stat category that you can actually put golfers into. So let me get rid of all these filters and then I'm going to go by each stat category. So last year's, all 6 buckets. 3 to 6 last year won. 0 to 2 in last year 3. There are only 3 golfers in that bucket. And then there are 13 golfers in the last year 6 bucket, which means golfers who did not play the Tour Championship last year. Now, if I open up the optimizer and show you guys if it'll open for me. There we go. So if I put up the optimizer, this follows the bucket system. And I want to show you some big differences. So last year 1, my optimizer says 2 to 6. Here it says 3 to 6. The reason being, and I think this is what I'm going to do going forward, when I look at each of these buckets, so let's imagine, so this is a 3 to 6 bucket, right? Last year 1s. So it's basically telling you want to select at least 3. Well, what happens if 4 golfers from the last year's 6 bucket finish inside the top 10? You would need a tie in order for that to work out. But what if only 10 golfers do? Well, then the math is wrong. Because if 4 from the max here end up inside the top 10, and only 3 from the last year 1s finish inside the top 10. Now, the math is correct. That fits inside the top 10, but you cannot build a lineup that way. Most likely you can't. And let's just say those were the only numbers, 4 and 3. Well, chances are you can't play, you might not be able to play 4 golfers from this bucket, and you might not be able to play 2 golfers from this bucket. So really, what I did was I looked at all of this and I changed the conditionals myself. So last year 1s, I have 2 to 6. And last year 6s, I have 1 to 4. And that's because if there were 4 golfers that came out of this bucket to finish inside the top 10 that were easy to build a lineup around, I wanted the optimizer to be able to select 4 golfers, which means I had to bump the minimum down to 2. And I think that's what I'm going to have to do going forward. Just looking ahead to all the other tournaments coming up. 0 to 2, and that's the other thing too, is incorporating the other buckets. So yeah, a minimum of 2 here, a minimum of 1 here, which allows up to 3 golfers to be chosen wherever. That could be 2 golfers from the last year 2 bucket. Unlikely, but I wanted to keep that open. So if I keep going through each of these stat categories, and the next one is the last week stat, this says 3 to 6. This one down here says 2 to 4. Well, again, if 4 golfers from this bucket finish inside the top 10 and you want to build lineups around them, that means you can't start with 4 or even 3 from this bucket. So the last week buckets, I also have that down to 2 to 6, 1 to 4, and then 0 to 1. Ooh, last week 6s. I might have to change that. 0 to 1. Is it last week 3s that I don't have correct? Oh boy. I need to change that. Anybody who got the optimizer, you should change that on your end too. So that's got to be a 0 to 1. Course history buckets. Oh gosh, this is a 3 to 6 bucket. And then this would be a 0 to 2. So actually that would work out. 3 to 6 works. Do I have that for course history? Yeah, 3 to 6. Yeah, that works. Of course it does. Recent form buckets. I'm not going to go through all of them. You guys can check this out on the cheat sheet. Go to the bucket system. Take a look there. If you want the optimizer, obviously send in a request and I will send you the optimizer. I have them all situated based off of what I just provided you. So hopefully that made sense to you. If it did not, obviously reach out to me. Let me know and I will, I'll explain it a little bit better through text message or email or whatever. So yeah. That's all I have for the bucket system. Like, I mean, for me, it's not anchoring, like finding 2 to 2 to 6 golfers from the last year one bucket. It's pretty simple. You have like, here, let me put a different filter on this. Out of this year, how many golfers are in each of these buckets this year? If I remove 0, look at this. Here you have 3 last year buckets. We actually have 4 last week buckets, but you have 3 course history buckets, 3 recent form buckets. You have all the salaries. Yeah, that makes sense. And then we only have 4 strokes gained buckets. They're not even, we don't even have a full scope of buckets to look at. We just only have 3. And that makes sense, right? Because there are only 30 golfers in the field. So if there was a finishing position last year, the highest finishing place that any golfer can get. Now, this is going to confuse some of you guys, but it is actually a 90, meaning a withdraw. But you can't miss a cut here. And there's only 30 golfers in the field. That means 30th place is the highest position you can find. So that would be in these buckets right here. Same thing applies for last week. Now, 1 golfer, Sepp Straka, did not play last week. That's very uncommon, by the way. And I'm not even gonna care as to what the numbers say about that, because I don't know who any of those other golfers were. They might have been bums, and who cared? But yeah, you have the 40 to 60 range because there were 50 golfers, well, 49 golfers in the field. So 40 to 60 means there were a limited amount of golfers that would have been in that bucket. And that goes throughout every single year. We have 1 this year. Normally you see 4. So yeah, anyways. It's hard to do buckets when you can't look at 6 buckets per stat category. That's kind of all I'm getting at. Because you can't do that, it gets challenging. It gets difficult. So I'm not really taking the bucket system to heart. I'm just letting the optimizer do its thing. I kind of made it pretty conservative. And just going to go with that. I missed roll call number 1, but you know what? I'm done with the bucket system. Basically, all I was trying to say is, I'm not taking it extremely serious with the projections. I'm just going with what I ended up kind of creating within the conditionals of the optimizer. That's what I'm doing. All right, roll call number 1. Who's your winner this week? Who do you think is going to take down the Jeep or the Tour Championship? Who do you think is going to take down the Tour Championship? You will get an entry into the weekly and the monthly giveaway. Who's your winner? I posted it in the chat. Scottie until proven otherwise. I love it. Hi, Tara. How's it going? Nice to see you. Lombardi Lee going out of left field with Sam Burns. Okay. Anybody else that comes here, I will add your name. Let's move on to the, actually, this is going to be a quick conversation about the Marquee Tee Times. Okay, so looks like I'm just trying to reconnect. You can't see this, but when it comes to the Marquee Tee Times, okay, we're good now. We don't have that many groups. I mean, there are only 30 golfers in the field. That means 20 or 18 golfers out of the 30 are going to be a part of the Marquee Tee Times. I looked back at every single year, and I'm not going to bore you with this all. The most I've ever seen come out of the Marquee Tee Times are four golfers from the Marquee Tee Times, which is great because remember my whole rule about the Marquee Tee Times is you want 2 to 4 golfers from the Marquee Tee Times in your lineups, and you don't want to pair them up with the golfer they're playing with on Thursday. They're going to regroup every single day, by the way, depending on what the standings are. So you don't even have the Thursday, Friday splits as you typically do with each of these tee times. So here's what I ended up doing. I just want you guys to see this. Well, one thing, let me go back to what I was just talking about. I had said, or what I saw was you never saw more than 4 from the Marquee Tee Times in the optimal lineup, which is wonderful. To go along with that, there have been several times that golfers in the same group end up being the optimal lineup. Not necessarily from the Marquee Tee Times. It happened one time, but you'll see it just underneath the Marquee Tee Times or a little bit, lower than that. So like one of the first tee times to go out, the cheap priced golfers. So do I think you should follow the Marquee Tee Times as we typically do every single week? No. And you're going to see that with the optimizer. I'm actually allowing for the optimizer to select up to 2 golfers from a group. Here's what I'm going to do manually, visually. I do not want to see, say, group 1 have 2 golfers. This won't happen, by the way. But group 1 have 2 golfers in it and group 2 have 2 golfers in it. Like, that's not going to happen because group 1 is Scottie and Rory. Group 2 is JT and Harris English. I guess that could happen. So these are things you got to think about. It's all price dependent. Ben Griffin, Tommy Fleetwood. So those could. All right, let's do it this way. So Tommy Fleetwood and Justin Thomas, group 3 and group 2. Ben Griffin at 77 and Harris English at 69. We actually have left nearly $16,000. So we can go with 8K golfers. Can I do anything crazy here? Probably not. But I have 4 golfers that are playing, 4 Marquee Tee Time golfers that I've just selected. Harris English, Ben Griffin, Justin Thomas, Tommy Fleetwood. There's 4. And they're all paired up with they're paired up with another golfer that I just selected. Again, it's Tommy Fleetwood and Ben Griffin in a tee time together, Justin Thomas and Harris English in a tee time together. I tell you not to do these things, but I'm just trying to make the case as to why you could do these things. So you could go something like this, and again, we have $8,000 to work with. So I could go Colin Morikawa in group 5 and Cam Young in group 6. And now I have 6 golfers from the Marquee Tee Times in a lineup together, but only 4 of them technically are paired up together with, each other. This is where I would say this is not okay. Don't do this. However, you go from 79 to JJ Spawn. He's not in a Marquee Tee Time. That uses up all $50,000 of the salary. Something like this would work for me. I think you could do something like this. Just throwing that out there. You could do something like this. But I do have the safeguards in place, so you can only select up to a max of 5 golfers from the Marquee Tee Times. And yeah, there's no limitations here. I just don't want to see this number be a 2, this number be a 2, and then a 1 and a 1 or something like that. Or a 2, and a 1. I want to see only one time golfers are paired up together. That's it. I don't want to see it more than that. That's kind of my advice about the Marquee Tee Times this week. So I'll hit Run Optimizer when I'm building lineups, and I'll come down here and just take a look. Not here, but here. Looks like I'm selecting 5 golfers from the Marquee Tee Times. I don't know if I really want to do that. You know, unless there's 2. Like that'd be great if I could do a multi-rule thing here. I only want 5 if one of these groups has 2. I don't want 5 individual golfers, if that makes sense, like from the Marquee Tee Times. So here, something like this would make more sense to me. We're still only selecting 4 groups, but one of those groups we're selecting 2 golfers from. I know I've said don't do that in the past, but a lineup like this would make a lot of sense to me. And it's a pretty sexy lineup. McIlroy, JT, Morikawa, Straka, English, and Rose. I think that's wonderful. So, it's my 2 cents. So the gloves are off. There's no rules really this week when it comes to Marquee Tee Times. You guys can do whatever you want. We're going to start building lineups here pretty soon. So give me 2 to 4 golfers that you want me to build lineups around. We're not going to spend much time doing this. We'll do this quickly, 3 minutes a piece, and then we're going to get out of here. Actually, you guys can use this. You guys don't have to. Just give me 2 to 4 golfers to build lineups around. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and switch to this. Let's back up. All right. Tara says, just for mine, kick who you want. I'm listening. Okay. Tara wants McIntyre in English. Where are we at, Bobby Mac? All right. Timer's on the screen. 3 minutes. 3 minutes or 5 lineups. That's what we're doing. You get McIlroy, JT, Cam Young, McIntyre, Harry Hall, and Harris English. A couple Harrys in there. Next one is Scottie, Scheffler, Colin Morikawa, Bobby Mack, Keegan Bradley, Harris English, Sungjae Im. That's a really good lineup. That's a 10-8, 2-7s, 2-6s. That's a really good lineup. Next lineup is Sepp Straka, Scheffler, McIntyre, Hall, English, and Rose. It's a really good lineup too. These are looking good. Rory, JT, Straka, Matsuyama, McIntyre, English. Solid. And McIlroy, Fleetwood, McIntyre, Honors, Hall, and Harris English. That's another great lineup. All right. Those are 5 lineups for you, Tara. I'm going to go ahead and save these off to the side. I can't really keep them all here because the optimizer just is not going to love that. So basically, we're going to start over with everybody's selections. All right, so that was Tara's. Moving on to AJ. I'm flying through these, by the way. Let me take that back off. Scottie and Griffin. Okay. Scottie and Griffin. All right. Timer's on the board. Here we go. You're welcome, Tara. Those were good lineups for sure. Your first lineup, AJ, is Sky Scheffler, Cam Young, Griffin, Harry Hall, English, and Shane Lowry. Next lineup, Scottie, Morikawa, Ben Griffin, McIntyre, Brian Harman, and Sungjae. That's pretty solid too. Not bad. Next lineup is Scottie, Ben Griffin, Hideki Matsuyama, Corey Connors, Justin Rose, and Chris Gotterup. Ooh, we're getting spicy with these lineups. I like this. Scheffler, Griffin, Straka, Matsuyama, English, and Sungjae. I like that lineup. I like it a lot. Next lineup is, okay, how many Matsuyama lineups are those? 1. So just the last 2. Let's try a different one. I don't want Matsuyama in this lineup. Matsuyama does not, he's not the same dude. 75, I don't even know if 75 is good enough. So we get him out of there and instead we replace them with Scottie Scheffler, Ben Griffin, McIntyre, Connors, Rose, and Batia. Sign me up. Those are decent lineups. I like it. Save those off to the side. Delete. Move on to the next guy. Nathan Johnson. Nathan wants Scottie and Hall, like Scott Hall and the Outsiders. Actually, yeah, I like Harry Hall quite a bit. Alrighty, here we go. AJ, you're welcome. Scottie, Scott Hall, Razor Ramon. Ayo. Scheffler, JT, McIntyre, Hall, Lowry, and Sungjae. What a lineup. I like that lineup a lot. That's a really good lineup. Scottie, Morikawa, Connors, Harry Hall, Harris English, Justin Rose. Solid. Next lineup is Scottie Scheffler, Sam Burns, Keegan Bradley, Harry Hall, Justin Rose, Brian Harman. It might be my favorite one of the night. I don't like Brian Harman, but a lineup like this that has everybody else, I don't really like Keegan. Never mind. I don't like Keegan either, but what a like I would put that in the lineup to hedge my bets basically because I don't like any of those guys. Scheffler, Burns, Bradley, Hall, English, and Lowry. If Bradley shows up again, I'm going to give him the boot. We've done this. Scheffler, Cam Young, McIntyre, Harry Hall, Justin Rose, and Chris Gotterup. That one's pretty solid. I don't mind that. All right. Nathaniel, I know you're probably going to request the optimizer, so you can do whatever you like. Okay. Solid, solid, solid. Next one up. Wheels up. Logan wants M, Colin, and Scottie. This will be interesting. I can't wait. Okay. Timer is on Kikadeki for a bit. Yeah, there you go. I did it. I did it already. Like I said, I'm cruising through these. Cruising through them. All right, Logan, here we go. We get Scheffler, Morikawa, Straka, Harry Hall, Harris English, and Sung Jae. This is my lineup. Like this will be one of the lineups that I put in one of my contests. Not gonna tell you which one, because DraftKings would get mad at me. But this is the one. Like I've already built it. Next one, Scottie Scheffler, Ajati, Morikawa, Harman, Im, and Andrew Novak. Ooh, getting spicy with the worst golfer in my model. Scheffler, Morikawa, McIntyre, Corey Connors, Harry Hall, and Sungbae Im. Kick decky for you, okay. Scheffler, Morikawa, McIntyre, Bradley, English, and Sungjae. And the last one has Hideki in it, but you don't want him. We kick him out. Scottie Scheffler, Morikawa, Straka, Corey Connors, Brian Harman, and Sungjae Im. Interesting. I like Im and Novak in the same one. I'm going to do this one over without Harman. Whew, okay, you get a different one here. Scheffler, Morikawa, Griffin, Straka, Sungjae, and Jacob Bridgman. Just to be a bit different. I don't mind. Do not mind. All right. Moving on. Tim, tiptoe through the Tulos. Scottie JT. This will be interesting too, man. Scottie JT. All right, timer's on the board. Here we go. Scottie Scheffler, Justin Thomas, Bobby Mack, Harry Hall, Shane Lowry, Sungjae Im. Yeah, Sungjae just makes things work. Scheffler, Thomas, Bradley, English, Rose, Novak. This will be interesting. Wheels up, you're welcome. Scheffler, JT, Straka, Rose, Harman, Bridgman. Interesting. Scheffler, Thomas, Connors, Harry Hall, Brian Harman, Shane Lowry. Ugh. I might have to bring Sungjae back for this next one. It might break. I'm feeling it might break. It doesn't break. Wow. Wow. Scheffler, Thomas, Harry Hall, Justin Rose, Batia, and Nick Taylor. How about one last one? I just want to see. Will it break? It does not. Well, it's a free one for you if you want it. That was not bad. Not a bad. Shane Lowry. Do we have any trust with Shane Lowry? It loves Rose. I love Rose at this golf course. I liked him at Memphis. I like him at this golf course. I did not like him at the BMW. All right, Tim. All right, we're going to Lombardi Lee. Then it's John Bizzle, and that's it. That's all I see for requests. Take that off. Sam Burns, Decky, and Fleetwood. So we are doing an anti-10K. So we get Fleetwood, Samuel Burns, and Hideki Matsuyama. All right, timer is on the board. Tim, you're welcome. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, whoa, hold on. Hold on. Hold on. I forgot to delete. Forgot to delete. But maybe that first one was okay. We had McIlroy, Fleetwood, Burns, Matsuyama, Goddard, and Sungjae. That's, yeah, that's pretty special. That's a good lineup. Next one. Fleetwood, JT, Burns, Straka, Matsuyama, and Harry Hall. Solid. That one's very balanced. Next one is Fleetwood, Hovland, Burns, Matsuyama, McIntyre, and Harry Hall. That's another good one. Another balanced one. Next one is Fleetwood, Thomas, Burns, Griffin, Matsuyama, and Keegan Bradley. We're not going to get a Scheffler lineup here? We might not be able to. You know what? I kind of want to see if I can. Probably can't. Don't think we can. This one's a Rory, Fleetwood, Burns, Matsuyama, Harman, Sungjae lineup. That's fine. I'm going to force in Scottie. I don't think the optimizer is going to let me do it. Does not. Can't do Scottie with that. Okay, cool. Well, Mr. Lombardi Lee, those were 5 lineups for you. John Bizzle, you're next and you're last. You're the last one that I got. John wants Scott, Hall, and Burns. Love it. Love this. This looks good. All right, here we go. John, it's timers on the board. We go Scottie, Burns, McIntyre, Harry Hall, Jay Rose, and Shane Lowry. Solid. Scheffler, Burns, Matsuyama, Hall, English, Sungjae. Might bring Sungjae back. Scheffler, Burns, Bradley, Harry Hall, Rose, Harman. Is that the first lineup that I did? Nah, I had Babby Mac. Okay. Scottie, Burns, Corey Connors, love it. Harry Hall, Harris English, Chris Goddard. What a lineup. I like that lineup a lot. All right, I'm bringing back Sungjae. I'm kicking out Rose. I'm kicking out Bradley and Matsuyama. I want to see this without those golfers in it. What will it do? Will it give me Straka? It did Jacob Bridgman. I'm going to keep going until it breaks or it gives me Straka. Novak. This is a pretty good lineup. Scheffler, Burns, McIntyre, Harry Hall, Batia, and Sungjae. I like that lineup. All right, I'm forcing in Straka. This is for just for me. This is what I want. Ah, it breaks. Let's bring back some of these other dudes. Will it break? Still? Does not, but it puts in Brian Harman, which is whatever. Shane Lowry, Nick Taylor, okay. It's doable. And then it breaks. Then it breaks. All right, one more. Ooh, Brian Harman and Sungjae. I like this one. This is a good one. Scheffler, Burns, Straka, Harry Hall, Goddard, and Nick Taylor. Yeah, I like that one. Cool. Just wanted to see it, man. I wanted to see it with Sepp Straka. Feeling good about Sepp Straka. Cool. All right, guys. I did want this to be short-ish. This stream short-ish. I obviously went on a huge discussion about Scottie Scheffler. Because I think it matters. You know, when it comes to building lineups this week, I think really the only thing that matters is your decision to play Scottie Scheffler or not. I think it strictly comes down to that. Are you going to play Scottie? If you do, what are your lineup possibilities? And I think we saw it's very easy and it's still a high quality lineup. So, I encourage you all to go to SweetSpotDFS.com. Use the tools there. Use them to your advantage. The way that I used them in this video, the way that I have been using them. I think it's the best way to figure out what type of lineup to build. If it's a pro Scottie or an anti Scottie. And then just see who the golfers are. You know, do you like some of those golfers? If you do, play them. If you don't, move on. Find other golfers to anchor your lineups around. Or maybe decide, are you going to play Scottie Scheffler then? Maybe you weren't, but because you can't build any good lineups without Scottie, now you go back to Scottie. Yeah, take a look. That's going to be it for me. So I'm going to leave you there. Thank you all for watching. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff on your way out, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, bye.